This week's Torah portion, Parshat Metzora, contains the interesting phenomenon of the Bayit HaMinugah, the house which starts to have discolorations on the walls, reddish, greenish, and it's not just run-of-the-mill mold, which we know about here in New Orleans, but rather there seems to be a spiritual phenomenon connected to this, and the person calls in the local Kohen, and the Kohen will investigate and see if this is indeed a form of tzara'at, a form of spiritual ritual impurity. And if that is what it is, then the area of the house that's been affected, the stones of the walls have to be removed. And you bring new stones and new earth and you replaster the walls. And then there's also sacrifices that go along with this as well. So what we're going to look at is in chapter 14, the verse says as follows. Chapter 14, verse 40. The Kohen will instruct that the stones of the walls be removed. Asher bahen hanaga, those stones which are affected by this affliction, v'hishlichu eten el michutz la'ir, and they should be sent out to the outside, the outskirts of the city, el makom tameh, to an impure place. So the question is, where are the stones taken? What is this impure place? Says Rashi, makom she'ein taharot mishtamshot sham. This refers to a place where things which must be kept pure are not used. Limedcha hakatuv, the Torah is teaching us, sheha'avanim halalu, that these stones, mitamot mekoman, make their location impure, be'odan bo, while they are there. So it's not. So Rashi comes to tell us there is no such place outside of the city that's called an impure place. Rather, it's simply a place where pure things are not brought. And when is there impurity in this area? While the stones are there. And if you come into contact with the stones. But don't think that there's a particular place which is intrinsically impure. And it's that idea which the Gur Aryeh, the Maharal of Prague, the super commentary of Rashi that we're about to read, picks up. So this is, again, chapter 14, verse 40. Be'odam bo, while the stones are there. Aval, im eno bo, but if the stones are not there, enam mitamin et mikoman, then they no longer impurify their place. Meaning, it's not the case that you bring these stones out to this place in the city and the impurity of the stones sort of moves or migrates to the ground. That's not what happens. Why? Dekarka olam eina mikabelet tuma. Because, and here the Gur Aryeh cites an established Talmudic principle that land, sort of just the ground, cannot receive ritual impurity. Aval, be'odam bo, but while the stones are there, hamakom etameh kamo bayit HaMinugah, then the area that the stones are sitting in is impure, just like when those stones were in the wall of the house. Dekol hanichnas bo tameh mipnei shehanega b'bayit bo. Just like when there is impurity in an enclosed space, then anyone who goes into that space, the source of impurity in that room or that tent or that cave or that area is impacted by the source of impurity in that space. So too, if you make a pile of impure stones on the ground outside, then that area within those stones is impure. But once you take those stones away, the land itself is not impure because, as the Maharal cited the Talmud in Masechet Nida, land itself cannot contract ritual impurity. V'chein ba'od she'avanim asher naga bam b'mekomam So therefore, just like while the stones were in the house, it made the house impure until you took out the stones, so too, while the stones are in this place and they still have the nega, they still have the affliction on them, mitamei makom bishvil nega sheyesh be'avanim, then they are affecting the area that they are around. So this all goes to solve a problem in the text, which is, what does it mean to say that there's an impure place outside of the city? It doesn't mean that there's something objective or intrinsic about that place. It's simply saying that while the stones are there, it is an impure place. So don't bring it to a place where there's pure kodshim, there's pure things that are going to be brought to sacrifice. Certainly, that's on one side. And then also don't worry and say that the fact that impure things are brought there makes that place intrinsically or everlastingly impure. No, that's simply impure as long as these stones, which have this affliction on them, are stored there. Always a pleasure learning with you. More next week.